Hello class, good morning. Today we're going to learn about one of the most important tenses in the English language, the simple present tense. It's used to describe actions that are currently happening or habits that occur regularly. It's a tense that you will use a lot in your everyday life, and it's essential to have a good understanding of it. So, let's get started and master the simple present tense together. Good day class. Today, we will be discussing one of the most important tenses in the English language, the simple present tense. This tense is used to describe actions that are currently happening or habits that occur regularly. It can also be used to state facts and generalizations, express opinions and emotions, and describe how often an action occurs using time expressions. When using the simple present tense, the verb remains in its base form for all subjects except for third-person singular, which adds an s or is to the end of the verb. To negate a sentence, the word not is added after the auxiliary verb do, and to ask a question, the auxiliary verb do is placed before the subject. It's a useful and versatile tense to master in your English language learning journey. The simple present tense is one of the most fundamental tenses in the English language. It is used to describe actions that are happening currently or habits that occur regularly. The simple present tense is considered simple because it only requires the base form of the verb to describe these actions and habits, making it an easy tense to learn for English language learners. To conjugate the simple present tense correctly, the base form of the verb is used for all subjects except for third-person singular. In this case, the verb requires the addition of an s or is at the end to agree with the subject. This is an important rule to remember when using the simple present tense, as it helps to ensure proper subject-verb agreement. For example, I eat breakfast every day, but he eats breakfast every day. The simple present tense is widely used in English, as it helps to convey information about what is happening in the present moment, or what happens regularly. It is a foundational tense that provides a starting point for learning more complex tenses in the English language. The simple present tense is a versatile verb tense in the English language that not only describes actions that are happening now or regularly, but can also be used to express facts and generalizations. When we use the simple present tense to state a fact or a general truth, we express something that is universally true or known. For example, we can say that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius or the earth revolves around the sun. These are things that are true at all times and in all circumstances. It is important to note that when we use the simple present tense to state a fact or a generalization, we don't need to change the form of the verb. The base form of the verb is used for all subjects, whether it is I, you, we, they, or he, she, it. This means that the verb to rise remains the same, regardless of whether the subject is the sun or the moon or the stars. By using the simple present tense, we can express facts and generalizations in a clear and concise manner, and make statements that are universally accepted as true. Another way to use the simple present tense in English is to express opinions and emotions. This means that we can use this tense to convey what we believe or feel about a particular topic or situation. For instance, we can use the sentence, I think that learning a new language is fun, to express a positive opinion about language learning. Likewise, we can use the sentence, I hate Mondays, to express a negative emotion towards the first day of the week. In order to express opinions and emotions using the simple present tense, we follow the same rule as before. The verb remains in its base form for all subjects, so whether we're expressing a personal opinion or a shared emotion, we don't need to add an extra s or is to the verb. For example, we can say they love going to the beach or she hates spicy food. By using the simple present tense to express opinions and emotions, we can communicate our thoughts and feelings more clearly and directly. Negating a sentence in the simple present tense involves adding the word not after the auxiliary verb do. The auxiliary verb do is used in the negative form to negate the sentence in the simple present tense. For example, I do not eat meat, or they do not like spicy food. When negating a sentence in the simple present tense, it is important to remember that the verb remains in its base form for all subjects except for third person singular, which adds an s or is to the end of the auxiliary verb do. For example, she does not eat meat, or he does not like coffee. The negative form of the simple present tense is often used to express actions that are not happening or habits that do not occur regularly. For example, I do not smoke cigarettes, or she does not drink alcohol. The negative form can also be used to express opinions or emotions in the negative form, such as I do not believe in ghosts, or they do not feel happy today. Asking questions is an essential part of communication, and the simple present tense is commonly used for this purpose. When constructing a question in the simple present tense, the auxiliary verb do is placed before the subject. For instance, do you like pizza? In the case of the third person singular, does is used instead of do. For example, does he like pizza? The use of the auxiliary verb do in questions helps to form a clear and grammatically correct sentence in the simple present tense. The verb remains in its base form for all subjects except for third person singular. This means that the verb like remains the same in do you like pizza and does he like pizza, while do and does change to match the subject. Asking questions in the simple present tense can help to gather information and clarify details. It is a useful skill for language learners to master and can be applied in a variety of situations. Using time expressions with the simple present tense can provide more context and clarity to a statement. Time expressions such as always, usually, often, sometimes, and never are often used to describe how frequently an action occurs or how regularly a habit is performed. For instance, saying, I always brush my teeth before bed indicates that brushing teeth before going to bed is a regular and consistent habit. On the other hand, saying I sometimes brush my teeth before bed implies that brushing teeth before bed is not a regular occurrence. It is important to note that when using time expressions with the simple present tense, the verb remains in its base form for all subjects except for third person singular, which adds an s or is to the end of the verb. For example, she usually brushes her teeth before bed, uses brushes instead of brush because the subject, she, is third person singular. Overall, using time expressions with the simple present tense is a useful tool to provide additional information about the frequency and regularity of actions and habits. Class, we've learned a lot about the simple present tense today. We've covered the basics, including how to conjugate the tense and how it's used to describe current actions and habits. Additionally, we learned that the simple present tense can be used to state facts and generalizations, express opinions and emotions, negate senses, ask questions, and indicate how often an action occurs with time expressions. It's important to remember that the simple present tense is one of the most basic tenses in the English language and is widely used in everyday communication. It helps us express thoughts and ideas with clarity and accuracy, making it a crucial component of any English language learner's education. Now that we've covered the key concepts of the simple present tense, I encourage you to practice using it in your own writing and conversations. Remember to keep the rules of conjugation and usage in mind as you become more comfortable with the tense, and don't hesitate to ask questions if you need clarification.